Okay, I have a main team to go through. That will be the island of St Helena, but I will present very briefly a few results we have on the Mid-Atlantic Ridge islands that we have been studying from various perspectives. So from biogeography, we have this recent paper on biogeography and evolution of the three different islands that are in fact our case study here, SOMAR, the Mid-Atlantic Ridge Islands. We have been now working in some projections for thermal niche breaths. In this case, we are using reef fishes as models. We already did some studies comparing different oceanic islands in terms of macroecology. So we have some idea of this functional vulnerability. We have been doing some work underwater, collecting data, and so we have some insights on hyperdominance of a few species on these very isolated islands. We also now know more about the thermal tolerance of species and community structure of these three different islands. One Brazilian island and two from UK, as was already mentioned before. So we have some videos, some census of fish, some photos from the bantus, from the reef bantus. So I'm just running quickly on this just for you to have an idea, but this is all on the papers, and the presentation, it's in the drive there. So this is just to give context to the islands. It's interesting that one of the islands is very equatorial, so temperature almost don't change. But then we have the Saint Helena here that has some variation. And that in the morning, Julia presented some modeling and some ideas that may happen in the near future for Saint Helena. But in terms of thermal niches, it was nice to have this idea that it follows this idea of temperature gradient. Okay, now we are on the volcanic island of St Helena. We have been there as a Mission Atlantic expedition in 2023, and we gathered some data, some information that would then we'll try to put together. So we all know here the ecosystem services and threats and so on. Everyone knows this figure already. We have been publishing some stuff here. One for the southern coast of Brazil, and then we have this integrated assessment for the three islands of the South Mid-Atlantic Ridge. But one thing is to do this more general approach, and another one would be to go inside one specific island. So the difference here will be to show some of this kind of data, but just for one specific small area and very isolated. So let's see how it goes. The framework you all know also. At some point we were able to do this workshop in person with people in the island. So it was very nice for them to be confirming or not our statements, our research. This was very interesting. Not very different from many other places. We have fishing, shipping, wastewater coming as important in these pressures and ecological components. So we have the fishing, shipping, and wastewater. The main pressures were litter, contaminants, organic matter. So even in a small island like that and very isolated, one would imagine to be much more pristine place, but we have all these kinds of impacts right now. So mostly on fish, marine mammals, and seabirds. And then we have this, just to relate to other continental studies, and this one from the oceanic islands as a whole. So isolated islands are already being impacted, as we would imagine, but it's interesting to see. So we have, even being a small city and a small place with relatively few people, but sectors like shipping, we have evidences of contaminants, anchoring, noise, collision, and everything. Everything in a small scale, but happening. Although we have a large MPA, we have some fishing on the shore. The fishing is this what they call this 1-to-1 with that should be not that impacting, but anyway, we have some impact. Plastics, amazingly, we have plastics everywhere on Earth nowadays. Contaminants and organic matter of course, it's production for food. It's not that much, but anyway, we have this pressure there. Plastics. This is all photos from St Helena. It's not gathered elsewhere. Just to be sure. And even with this one by one fishing, we have this problem with fish. As we could saw in the community structure of reef fish coming from the visual censuses. Very few sharks, very few big fish. So St Helena is already impacted. The way we ran this analysis was nice for when we don't have that much quantitative data, and cooperation should be very important between government, research, and we have to keep monitoring. So it was a very interesting and nice experience to be there, even underwater, and then talking to people. Okay, but we also have another study in a different island of Trindade Island. This one have even fewer people. It's just a Navy base, military base in Brazil, but it's very far away, more than 1,000 kilometers from the coast. And we did something similar to that from St Helena. Okay, here's the distance. We have a seamount chain in between, and we managed to do a workshop with stakeholders also, although we don't have that much stakeholders on that place. But anyway, people that research and people from military and people that goes fishing all over these places. But it was nice to see. I mean, the results to be for people to be aware of it. So shipping again, fishing, but now the military with their impacts. And when we compare to St Helena, we see fishing, shipping again, but less wastewater problem. There's much less people, but there's the military impact also. When we compare to the South Brazilian shelf, we see it's much less complex, as we can imagine in an island like that. But anyway, we have our problems also. So again, leader, extraction, bycatch, and everything you would imagine will happen. It's really happened. Um so again, just to say that we now have these publications related to this stuff, and and that's it. I think that would be a nice way for you to know that these small, very isolated islands are already threatened, and it's nice that we can do this kind of study in this very small scale. This is the scale relevant to the islands. You you don't need to give them some very broad study that it's the whole Atlantic. For them, what it is important is what is happening there. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sergio. That was fantastic. Really enjoyable presentation. Does anyone have any questions for Sergio? Any questions? Yes, please. Go ahead. Wait, here comes the mic.
Yes, thank you for the presentation. I was wondering about the perception of the source of pollution and litter on St. Helena. Do people on the island perceive mostly that it's coming from elsewhere or that it's coming locally? And is there a kind of disconnect between the perception and the actual source, if you can identify the source?
Yeah, I guess it comes from both ways, but they used to blame all sources. I mean, of course, it's easier, but I guess there's some problem there too. Although the population is 4,000 people, it's not that much, but for the small island, it makes a pressure. But anyway, when we see a lot of stuff coming from shipping, that's why shipping appeared, because most plastics, when we can identify sources, are from everywhere, from China, from everywhere. But they know the problem. They were, I mean, in general, they agreed with our assessment.
Yes. We have a question over here.
Sergio, very nice. Do you think it's possible to apply this model for some cities along the Brazilian coast or even from the African coast? Because we do have several small cities in this area. So that could be a very nice exercise to apply this result from this island in these small cities, maybe.
Yeah, no, good question, and I think this is the way to go. We have to do as much as we can. Some local, I mean, in the scale of cities and islands. Gabriela here is doing, she did her PhD on the small scale of Santa Catarina, especially in Florianópolis. So I guess she will present tomorrow. You'll see another example of this smaller scale that's very nice. And I think it would be very useful to do in many places.
Other questions here?
Sergio, did you guys have any follow-up meetings with the stakeholders showing the final results? And if yes, did they say anything on what their perception is or how it may inform policy?
When we met at that point, we have almost the same kinds of graphs. They already saw it there, but they thought it was good or not. We changed a few things that they thought it was not accurate, but in general was okay. But now that we have all this stuff put together, it's time to give them at least a good report, and we'll try to simplify and give them a good report on that.
Yes. One more question here in front.
Something that was very strange for them was a bunch of Brazilian guys with European money came down there to the UK and doing this stuff there, but there was no one doing that. And we have this Oceanic Island previous experience, so it was a great moment.
Okay, obrigada, Sergio. My question has a little bit to do with that. On the military sector, how easy is that to get information on military pressures? Because I saw it there that you have species extraction. So I was not expecting the militaries to be, I was more expecting about military exercises and noise and confidential things. So that's my question, because military in our assessments not always come high, but they have a very low confidence because it's very hard to get data on who is doing what and where.
Yeah, no, I know it's hard, but since it's interesting that Trindade Island, the last island I showed, the Brazilian island, we are working there for more than 10 years now, for a long-term ecological project. So it's now we unveiled that there was no way of them not. I mean, they could show us stuff, and we know they fish there. They have been implementing rules about it now in the last few years. So they are proud that they are now doing stuff in a better way. But yeah, it was hard in the beginning. But if you go there just one time or for a few months, you will not know that. We just know because we were for a long time, and we know many of the military from the high hierarchical to them. But we see stuff there, so there's no way. But they don't like, of course, they don't like the way we put it. But what can we do? Just to have the military separate stuff. And where's the researchers? They say, you guys collect fish there that I know. They pointed at us.
Fantastic. So, well, okay, one small more question, because we've actually gotten a little ahead of schedule now because we start a little late. Okay, Elliot, yeah. A quick one before we have Mari come on. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's along the similar lines, and it was an interesting thing I saw for the St Helena mapping, that out of fishing, there was a small perception of a pressure of extraction, for species extraction, but a really large perception of litter being an issue. So I was wondering, is this something specific to the one-to-one fishing policy, or is this, how could you explain that fishing was going to have more of an impact via litter than via species extraction, do you think?
No, the thing is, it's very recently implemented, this one-to-one thing. And the MPA is very recent. So I think what we are seeing now is a result from decades before. It's still not recovered. It's small island, difficult to have propagules and dispersal. So it's, but I didn't show much. We worked, this is important, we worked mostly with very coastal species, mostly reef fishes. For pelagic, and then you have to ask Mari and Julia. They know the trends.
Yeah. Fantastic. Thank you very much for your
you.
presentation, and that was a wonderful
Thank you, guys.
contribution. Thank you. Thank you.